Well, the Ford government is outselling its budget today, a day after unveiling the $232 billion spending plan.
The budget focusing on the need for spending in the face of economic uncertainty triggered by the U.S. trade war. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live with more details. Siobhan.
Well, the finance minister feels the budget he presented yesterday puts Ontario in a good position to navigate rough tariff waters and also thrive beyond this uncertain period. This is a budget, though, that puts Ontario deeper into deficit and into debt. The deficit for next year, almost $15 billion. Now, this budget plan is one that relies heavily or leans heavily on supports to manufacturing sectors that could be affected by the tariff war. There's almost $30 billion of measures focused in that area. There's $5 billion associated with a fund meant to provide direct support to affected businesses. There's not a lot of detail at this point. We know the government intends that to be a backstop of sorts to federal programs. That does worry opposition leaders. They want to make sure that there are strings attached to that money to ensure that jobs and production stay in Ontario. We heard Doug Ford this morning at a campaign, it's not a campaign stop, rather a sales pitch stop on this budget in Wasaga Beach, really focusing on this element at the end of the budget, focused on speed and red light cameras. Here's more of what we heard from those two leaders this morning.
How does Ontario compete in the new economy? And I think that means things like the Ring of Fire and critical minerals. I think that means becoming an energy superpower through our big nuclear build. It means building more infrastructure, not slowing down, to position our economy for prosperity.
If you're going, 10 kilometers an hour over, you're getting dinged. So it's a real revenue opposed to safety. I always want to make sure I differentiate between school zones. Everyone should be crawling through a school zone, but they're putting them all over the place.
So the government did say at the very end of its budget that they do intend to make clear in legislation that speed cameras and red light cameras should only be used for safety purposes, not to drive revenues for cities. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Natalie, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Siobhan.